This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so
Thank you.
Selenium, yeah, please, Sandhya. Are you saying something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, okay. So, so please, will you just mute your mic, and whenever you want to ask me, you can raise your question.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So basically, Selenium is an open source tool, and the main purpose of Selenium is to do the automating testing, and it is used to carried on the web browser. So basically, it is only used to do the testing on the web-based application. It can't be used for some kind of system or mobile-based application. It is only used for doing the testing on the web-based application. Okay, and here basically we use the web browsers, and the test cases are carried out on the web browser itself. Now question arises, why we need Selenium? What is the main reason for using the Selenium? So the first reason is it provides a support for multi-language. So basically the test script can be written in any type of programming language. We can use Java, we can use Python, C Sharp, PHP, Ruby, and etc. So basically it is a language independent tool. We can do the test script writing in any of the language. Okay, then the second reason is it is OS independent. We can use Windows, we can use Mac or Linux. The same, because it is a web-based it is used for web-based application, and we are running on the web browser. So definitely Windows, Mac, and Linux support the web browser, and thus we can say the Selenium can be used on any of the operating system. Browser flexibility, we had already seen it provide a high range of browser to be used for the testing purpose. Okay, then finally it can be integrated with tools such as TestNG and JUnit. So basically TestNG and JUnit are basically tools which are used for managing the test cases. Okay, because we are using the automatic testing tool, so we need certain tools to organize and to manage the test cases. And because if we are doing something, definitely that particular things will show some outputs, and that outputs are need to be recorded in reports. So this test ng and JUnit are tools which are used for generating the reports. Okay, so this is a basically a theoretical part. So we are moving further. So you can see in this diagram that this user is integrating with the systems and doing the system testing. Okay, so what actually he is doing? He is running the automatic execution of the test scripts which are already uh, uh, put in the servers, and in that way, the result which is auto generated are sent to the main server or the connecting system, and finally the reports are generated. So in that way, we can run the automatic test scripts, and we can execute the test cases. Now we will see in the next slide, like what is the comparison between same type of automatic testing tool which are available in the market. So the very first tool is the HP QTP. Okay, so it is a tool which is provided by the HP. Then we are have IBM RFT, which is a testing automatic testing tool provided by the IBM, and the Selenium. So first, the license. So you can see here the both of this QTP and RFT required the purchase of license, while Selenium is a open source. So it is a big difference, because definitely it is an open source application. So any project or any organization can use Selenium, and definitely because any organization wants to do efficient cost cutting, and here basically the Selenium provide the efficient cost cutting to the organization. Then you will find like the cost is high while it is open source. On the customer support, it provide dedicated HP support. Here also there is a dedicated support is provided, but this Selenium because it is not provided by some kind of organization. So we can say it is there is an open source community where from we have to find the solution. If you are running with some kind of problem, if you are in between some problem, you need to search the open source community, and from there you have to find your own solution. The the next point for the comparison is the hardware consumption during script execution. So you can see like QTP and RFT have a high hardware consumption, while the Selenium have low hardware consumption. Then the coding experience. So definitely the coding experience is not required in the QTP and RFT, while we can say ample amount of coding is skills and experience are required. But here is a difference, because when you are running the Selenium code, the test script is written by the development side. The tester is only required to run the test or execute the test cases. Okay, so now question arises, what type of web-based browser, or basically how this particular tool look like. So it is a simple software, and it have certain buttons, elements, menus, and this whole makes the tester to run the Selenium code very easily. Okay, so basically what is actually done, we have a dedicated team of developer, we have a dedicated team of testing team. Okay, so basically the development team write the test cases, or you can say the test script is written by the development team, and that test script is given to the tester. The testing team load the this test script into the Selenium application, and then they perform normal testing using the Selenium tool. Okay, so basically this coding experience is not very much relevant if you are only working as a tester. If your profile is only as an testing profile, so we can say Selenium, you can definitely operate Selenium easily. But if you have to manage the entire means operation, or you can say if the testing team is need to write the test script. So in that point of time, definitely ample amount of coding skills and experience are needed. And here basically coding experience in Java, in Python, and so means whatever the your project platform is, you need to know that particular language. Okay, but as i am as I am have a working experience, I know like we are having dedicated team. If we are working on a Java platform, then we have a dedicated development team for the Java application. They write the test cases, or sorry, test scripts, and only means testing team is only needed to run those test cases. But definitely if you are having coding experience, definitely it is very useful for you. Okay, then the environmental support. So basically here basically the limitation of QTP and RFT is because it is only can be run on the Windows. As I told, like Selenium is an open web browser, or it use any kind of browser, and this browser if are supported by the OS can definitely support the Selenium also. Then the language support. So basically here in QTP, basically Visual Basic is used. So it is only means we can say only Visual Basic script can be run if you are using QTP. Here basically in RFT, Java and C Sharp are used, and here in Selenium, this is the main utility to use the Selenium, because it not only provides Java, C Sharp, Ruby, Python, Perl, PHP, and JavaScript are the other coding language which can be used to write the test scripts. Okay, so till now, let me know this thing is clear to you.
Almost, not
Okay, okay.
fully.
The main point is like the coding experience. As I told you, if you are working somewhere, definitely if they require your experience to be in coding also, then you need to have a basic understanding of Java or any kind of language. Okay, here actually it is written like ample amount of coding experience, but believe me, as I am working, only a basic syntax, if you only know to write the syntax, and you are very versed, means if you are very good to write the algorithm to draw the flow diagram, to put the logic, you definitely can easily can write the test script, and it will definitely provide you an edge over the other workers who are working there. Okay, and basically it happens like if you are working for the very first time, you are a beginner, so no one expect like you need to write the testing scripts and all. Okay, all things like experience start in a way like the things are given to you, the scripts are given to you, you only need to execute those scripts using the Selenium tool. Okay, here basically the main point, whether you know how to operate Selenium or not. If you are good at operating the Selenium, you are good to execute the test cases, you will definitely work on the Selenium tool. Okay, then now we will see like what are the different or we can see the journey of Selenium. So we can say basically Selenium have four kind of tools. Okay, so basically the entire Selenium is called Selenium suite, and it is divided into four tools. The Selenium RC, which is basically Selenium remote control. So right now in a current version of Selenium, this RC is packed together with the other tools. Actually, we are not using RC right now. Okay, so we can say Selenium RC is running in a background. Uh, it is packed with the code. Okay, and then the other is Selenium IDE, Selenium Grid, and Selenium Webdrive. Now we will see each tool and we will find the details. Okay, now Selenium RC. So basically Selenium RC, as I told you, it is a Selenium remote control. So it is a Selenium core. Basically, previously before the Selenium RC, when we look into the history of Selenium development, we find there is a Selenium core, which is the very first tool. Okay, so basically there is a policy, basically the origin policy which work on the Selenium core is like the JavaScript which is required to which is required to run the testing test cases, or the to execute the test cases, is need to be accessed using the web elements which are hosted somewhere in a different domain. Okay, you can say like we are executing the web element from a one domain, and the other domain is present, or sorry, the JavaScript is present on the some other domain. What actually happen, you access the web element, then it will communicate with the different domain and fetch the JavaScript, and in that way the JavaScript and your web element combinedly run together. So it makes RC a slower tool. Okay, so because there is a definitely there is a some kind of delay, there is a some kind of propagation delay, so it makes Selenium RC as a some slower form of Selenium tool. Okay, so to overcome the same origin policy issue, tester needed to install the local copies of both Selenium core. Selenium core means the JavaScript program, and the web server containing the web application. So basically you are installing the web application and you are installing the Selenium core together on a same machine. Basically you are installing the copies of a Selenium core, means the JavaScript, and the web server or the web application code into the, means these two copies are installed in the core machine, or sorry, in a one machine, and then you need to run. Okay, so basically what actually this is a solution which is provided for the origin policy. Okay, so containing the web application being tested so that they will belong to the same domain. So basically what they are doing, they are combining these two things into a same domain. Okay, so now we will see how this thing will work. Basically what happened, the RC overcame the problem by involving a HTTP proxy server, and this proxy server will trick the browser, and actually this thing provide some kind of virtual link, like Selenium core and the web application being tested come from the same domain. So basically using the HTTP proxy server, it is provided to combine these two things and to be work on a same domain, thus making RC a two component tool. So we can say basically RC is divided into two component. First is the Selenium RC server, where basically your JavaScript is present, and then Selenium RC client, basically where the containing your programming language code or the application code. Okay, so now let me know this thing is clear to you. Okay, so I'm moving to the next slide. So here you can see in this diagram, basically RC server communicates using simple HTTP GET and POST requests. So means getting the thing and posting the or providing the data request. Look at the okay. So see this architecture of RC architecture. So you can find like Selenium RC architecture is running on the Java or the multi language, and here basically your remote control server is providing the integration of web-based web browser, where basically your web-based application is running, and it is providing a common integration or a point of linkage between the two. In that way, you can run the Selenium RC, or the Selenium RC is run in that way. Okay, so I'm moving on the next slide. Now we will see the Selenium IDE. IDE. So basically, it is integrated development environment. Yeah, please.
So Selenium RC, like nowadays, no one is using that. So how we are
Yeah.
using in
Mhm.
today's work?
Okay. So basically, what happened? We had used the code. Basically, Selenium RC is a code. It is a core basically. So basically, it is background. It is implemented or itself taken care by the Selenium WebDriver. Basically, we are using right now Selenium WebDriver, and basically Selenium WebDriver, it is its own functionality to how to interact with the Selenium RC. Okay, so basically we had means actually what the Selenium developer has done, because Selenium is a software, so definitely someone is developing it. So what the team has done, they had depacked the Selenium RC into some package which is itself present in the Selenium core. So it is not at all like means you can say it is some kind of data abstraction, where basically your data, your process is somewhat working in a background, but you didn't need to focus on that thing because you are working on Selenium WebDriver and you are interacting with the Selenium WebDriver. As an user of Selenium WebDriver, your entire focus is on how to use Selenium WebDriver to execute your test cases. Okay, so this thing is clear to you?
Not really, actually. I
Actually,
think
it
I
is
need
a
I
it is
need to.
basically it is a Selenium RC process is working on background, and the thing is made. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. Like
Okay.
Selenium RC is working on the background. They are connecting all the
Mhm.
server, and then they are throwing on one page, right?
Yeah.
That they are connecting us. But
Mhm.
like when it comes to the web driver, like Selenium
Mhm.
RC.
Okay. Your doubt will be clear now when we will deal with the Selenium WebDriver, because this thing is need to be understand at that time only. Okay, because
Okay.
if we take this thing, we can't carry forward our session. Okay, this your answer will be given to you. Okay, then how this working is communicated, or how they are communicating with each other. Okay, now see Selenium IDE. It is integrated development environment. Now you can say it is some kind of environment which provide the user. Here basically user means the tester. So what the tester will do, tester will interact with the Selenium IDE, and their interaction will help them to record their interaction which they are performing on the web browser. You can say like okay, in the next page I will explain you. Means there is a screenshot. So here you can see this is a Selenium IDE. Okay, so it is running on it is Mozilla Firefox. Okay, so using this Selenium IDE, what actually happened when we fetch some website, or you can say when you are need to perform testing on a web browser or any website. So what you will do, you will create the link. Okay, like here you can see there is a base URL. So you will fetch the link here, and you will add that link, and then you will run your Selenium IDE. Okay, so you just need to from the external source, you need to give the link or the URL of your web application, which is stored in your server. Basically, your server will contain the application URL, and you need to give this URL into the IDE. Okay, and this IDE is then used by the web IDE, this Selenium IDE, and this Selenium IDE then interact the user with this particular web application. Okay, so we can see like here basically what IDE is used or IDE implemented as a record and playback model, wherein test cases are created by recording the interaction which the user had with the web browser. This test can then be played back any number of times. Okay, now we will see like suppose okay, I will give you one example. Means this thing is not installed because it is not possible to install the things. But 1 minute.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Actually, I think the page is now displayed to you. So basically, what is done using the Selenium IDE, what the user will do or the tester will do, he will use the Selenium IDE, and then he will means whatever the application, he will click on the URL, or he will fetch the URL. Okay, so we can say like suppose if we are using Selenium IDE to test the Twitter. Okay, so so what actually happened, like this is the web page, and like if after entering the URL, whatever the user will do, the system will record. Okay, and the system will you can say system will record the things like the test cases. System will means whatever the action the user is performing on the web page, each and every action is recorded by the Selenium IDE as in test cases. You can say like if I am clicking on the home, the same thing is recorded by the Selenium IDE. Like on clicking on the home button, this page will be open. So this is the Selenium IDE test case number 1. After that, if I will click on the sign up button, on clicking on the sign up button, what will happen? This page will be open. Okay, so Selenium IDE will record this as a second test case. Here basically what I will do, I will enter some name and the number, and then I will click on next. Suppose, so likewise you can say like if it is need to be the test case, like if the number is not valid, system will throw the error. This thing will also be recorded. So you can say whenever there is a response from the system, that response is recorded in the Selenium IDE. In that way, user is only need to perform the action. Okay, and his action is recorded by the Selenium IDE as a test cases. So I guess my application is clear to you.
Here I'm very much clear. Like whatever bifurcation we are doing on a web page, when we are going from one application to another application, whatever answers, these are pretty.
Yes. So you can say when user is interacting with the system or the web application, whatever the input is given to the web application, and the output which is thrown by the, or the response which is thrown by the web application, is recorded, and this form the test cases. Okay, so I guess it is clear to you. Now we will see the second point. So basically this test can then be played back any number of times. If you have recorded the test case, then this test case can be repeated for executing the testing n number of times. And the response means now the Selenium IDE will show the response, like whether the the test cases are fail or pass. Okay. Now, what is the advantage? So advantage with Selenium IDE, to tests recorded via the plugin can be exported in different programming languages. Here also, like whatever we had means whatever the test that we had recorded can be exported in different programming languages like Java, Ruby, Python, etc. Check. Okay, so this is the screenshot that I want to let you know. Okay, so in that way, the test cases are recorded and executed. Okay, now, like definitely, if we are moving further, like we are having some evolved form of Selenium, so definitely there is some kind of shortcomings. So we will see like what is the shortcoming. So first here, basically, plugin is only available for Mozilla Firefox and not for other browsers. Okay, yeah, definitely it is like that because Chrome and Internet browser is not supporting the plugin. So it is not possible to use the plugin which is produced by the Mozilla Firefox to the Internet browser, or sorry, Internet Explorer or the Chrome. It is not possible to test the dynamic web application. Only simple tests can be recorded. Okay, if the application is more complex, it is having some kind of very dynamic responses, so it is not possible to use the Selenium IDE. So in short, you can say if you are dealing with a simple application, then only you can use the Selenium IDE. Okay, now the test cases cannot be scripted using the programming language, so it is a shortcoming of IDE. Then finally, does not support data driven testing. Okay, so as I told you, like if you are entering something, so we or you can say that manually you need to provide the data, because it is executing, it will execute the same data again and again. We can't say like use this following set of data for the testing purpose. Okay, it will use the same data again and again, but it will not use some kind of data which is stored somewhere for the testing purpose. Okay, so I think the shortcoming of ID is clear to you.
Yep,
Okay,
I
I
was
will.
not able to understand with the last point.
Yeah, the last point.
Yep.
Okay, so basically you are asking like what the data-driven testing means.
Yes.
Okay, so as I give you the example of entering the name and phone number on the previous on the Twitter page, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can see, suppose if I am entering um, this thing, this text for the very first time in the name field. Okay, so this thing will be recorded and same data. Now, what is the data? Data is this.
Yep.
Okay, but I need to execute. Now, I need to check whether it is, means what is the system response if I will enter this data. And again, I need to see like what is the system response when I'm using some kind of symbols or entire symbols. So you can see this is my data which I need to test with the application.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it is not at all possible because we had recorded only one test case using the simple test. Okay, if we want to use this data, we again need to perform the same action to record the test cases. But what actually will help us or help the tester, like if the application of Selenium will store this data, like which is need to be used for the testing purpose, like this is the data number one, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth. So basically Selenium ID didn't provide any kind of functionality where we can replace the previous data with the other data. Okay, so in that way we can say that data driven testing is not it is not supported by the Selenium IDE. Okay, we can't store the data somewhere and provide this data into the Selenium IDE, but we need to create the same test cases again and again for the different set of data. Okay, now tell me your doubt is clear.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, still you have doubt, you can ask me. Okay, so Selenium grid. Now we will see like what is Selenium grid. So basically, the multiple test grids can be basically Selenium grid provide execution of multiple test scripts on the multiple machines. Okay, so we had seen like until Selenium IDE, we are doing single or only one application or one system machine is using one operation. But with the help of Selenium Grid, we can execute number of processes which is recorded or written in different scripts on multiple machines. So in that way, our testing work will be more easily can be operated, or more in a more faster way. Using the Selenium Grid, we can perform the testing because we are deploying multiple scripts and we are using multiple machines, and on the same time we are testing the entire application. Okay, so basically it provides parallel execution as I told you. So how this parallel execution is achieved? So it is achieved using the hub node architecture. So we create hub node architecture to perform the parallel execution using the Selenium Grid. Okay, so what is done now? One machine will assume the role of hub. So what actually is done? If we are having a machine, means simple machine, you can say it is a simple system, or it is some server with having its own processing unit and storage unit. Okay, so you can make one server or one system as a hub, and you can make other system as its nodes. So basically what hub actually do, hub control the nodes, whatever the nodes which are attached to the hub. Definitely if you are creating hub and node architecture, you need to uh, connect all the nodes with the hub. Okay, and definitely your hub will be programmed in such a way that it will control the nodes. So basically it is a hub node architecture, or it is a concept of networking. Okay, so here basically the hub control the test scripts running on various browsers inside various operating system. Test scripts being executed on different nodes can be written in different programming languages. So what actually hub is doing? Hub is running the test scripts. Okay, and here basically the different nodes, means you can say one node is running the Python scripts, other node is running the Java scripts, and both the nodes are controlled by the common hub called the single machine, which is used to connect all the nodes together. Now it is more clear in the next diagram. Okay, now see what actually is done. It is a hub. Okay, so it is a dedicated server, or it is a dedicated machine where the all the JavaScript are present. Oh, sorry, all the testing scripts are present. Uh, developer will run the code or execute the statement or command. Okay, and this thing will be given to the sorry, yeah, from here the hub will control different machines. So you can see in the diagram, like one machine is using the Chrome or Firefox. Here you are using internet browser on Windows. Here you can see like there is a symbol also. Okay, give me a minute, I am just enlarging. Okay, here you can see you are using Chrome on the Apple machine, you are using some another Internet Explorer on the Windows, and you are using some different browser on the Linux. So in that way, you can see your hub is controlling each machine which is running on some different operating system or some different web browser, and the single command or the single testing script is run in the different languages by using the different machines, and the entire control is you can say the entire control is taken by the hub. So in that way you can execute the different testing script which is written in different languages on the different machines which is connected using the hub. Okay,
So it is done by Selenium Grid or Selenium JVM?
Selenium Grid. Basically it is done by Selenium Grid.
Because as
Okay.
like when I was doing online study, it was written like it is executed by the help of Selenium JVM.
Basically, JVM is a virtual machine. Okay, so
Java virtual
you
machine.
can say, sorry.
Java virtual machine which
Yeah, Java
translate
virtual machine. Yes,
code
yes, yes.
according to the server.
Basically, what inside the hub we need to definitely deploy some kind of application. So inside the application, this Selenium JVM can be used. Okay, but main point is like you need to understand like how the nodes and hub are communicating with each other. Who is controlling whom? Okay, so your Java virtual machine can be installed in hub, and definitely, like as I told you, you need to deploy some kind of application, some kind of logic which control the other nodes. Okay, so in that way. Okay, so I am moving to the next slide. Now we will see what is Selenium WebDriver. So Selenium WebDriver was the first cross-platform testing framework that could control the browser from OS level. Like we had seen in IDE, Selenium WebDriver provides a programming interface to create and execute test cases. Okay, so what we had seen in IDE, what we are doing, we are interacting, or user is interacting with the Selenium IDE, and Selenium IDE is recording the test cases. But here, basically, the Selenium WebDriver itself is it is some kind of interface which can directly provide a programming interface so that we can create the and execute the test cases. It helps us to provide some kind of programming languages like Python, Java to create a programming interface which can create the test cases and execute the test cases. So basically, your Selenium WebDriver is a first cross-platform testing framework, okay, which can be used for multiple platforms. Okay, then the web elements. So now we will see like how this WebDriver application is look like. So basically, the web elements on web pages are identified, and then actions are performed on those elements. Okay, so web elements like suppose there is a submit button, there is some link, there is some menu. So on clicking on the menu, so basically the menu is a web element, the submit button is your web element on the web pages. So these web elements are identified by the Selenium WebDriver, and then actions are performed on those elements. So definitely user will perform the action, and in that way we can record the interaction, or we can write the particular action using the programming languages. Okay, then WebDriver is an upgrade to RC because it is much faster. It is a faster which so how this work in a more faster way, it will directly call the browser. We had seen in RC like we need to deploy the web application and the JavaScript inside the one domain, and here basically the web browser is calling the sorry yeah your web browser is calling uh, the the application code or the software code. So in that way it has some kind of delay. But here basically your Selenium WebDriver itself is calling the directly calling the browser. So RC on the other hand needs an RC server to interact with the web browser. As we had seen in the architecture diagram of RC, we are using certain RC server which provide means of integration between the web browser and between the JavaScript. Okay, but here WebDriver itself call the your web browser. So in that way, it provide a faster functionality. Each browser has its own driver on which the application run. So what exactly is done, like if you install Selenium WebDriver in Selenium WebDriver is a software, so you will install definitely that software into some machine, and the application will create its own driver in that particular machine. So you can say your machine will have its own driver, or the Selenium WebDriver application have its own driver on which the application runs. Now the different web drivers are, so basically we use Firefox driver, Chrome driver, and so on. Means for each and every web browser, we are using different driver. Okay. Now we will see the Selenium WebDriver into more detail. So basically, Selenium WebDriver is a web-based application or a web-based automation testing framework which can test web pages initiated on various web browsers and various operating systems. Okay, so basically we are using web browsers which are definitely working on some operating system, and this web pages which is initiated on the various web browsers are tested using the automation testing framework, which is the Selenium WebDriver. Here basically the freedom is provided to write the test script in any programming language. Okay, so we say like the Mozilla Firefox is a Selenium by default web browser. Okay, so it is an important point because it could be asked you in the interviews like what is the by default browser of Selenium WebDriver. So you need to know this thing, like Mozilla Firefox is the by default browser. Okay, now we will see like what is the advantage of WebDriver. So as we had seen, it support multiple programming languages. It had overcome the limitation of Selenium 1. Selenium 1, you can say it is a means above the RC, we have Selenium 1. So like file upload, download, pop-ups and dialog barrier. Okay, then it provides simpler commands when compared to RC, and it is a better application programming interface. Okay, so we can say definitely it is far more better than RC because it is providing simple commands, or the semantic of the semantic means the syntax or the normal statement which is need to be executed by the tester. So it use very simple semantic which can be easily understood by the tester or the user as compared to the RC. And definitely the application programming interface is very simple. So in that way, definitely the Selenium WebDriver is a more advanced as compared to RC. It support for batch testing, cross browser testing, and the data-driven testing. Okay, so now we will see the diagram. So in this figure, you can see here basically the test script is written using the different languages. Okay, so the different you can say the test script which is written in the multi programming languages can definitely be run by the Selenium WebDriver, and this WebDriver will do the automatic testing on the different browsers or the web browsers. So in that way, you can run the test script which is written in suppose in Perl, and you can use any browser. Okay, so in that way you have your choice or the freedom to use the Selenium WebDriver as a multi programming and multi browser tool. Okay, or it is a Selenium WebDriver which provides some kind of automated tool for working with the multi languages and with the multi browsers. So till now the things are clear to you?
Yeah, in this picture, it's like when
Yeah,
we
please.
when we are writing test scripts in different languages and we are running
Sorry,
on a different browser, when we are
what are you
writing.
saying?
Hello, Ankur. Am I audible now?
Yeah, your okay.
So I'm writing a test script in a different
Mhm.
language like C++,
Okay.
and then I have written it when I was writing it. I was using the web browser, let's say Mozilla,
Mhm.
and I want to run it on Internet Explorer now.
Mhm. Mhm.
So how is it going to
Okay,
happen?
okay,
Like how it
okay.
will execute the
So you
test?
need to, okay, it's okay. You need to understand the
Yep,
like
yep, go
in
ahead.
what way. So basically, what is written, like if you are had written the test script using, suppose you are written the test script in C++ and using the web browser Mozilla, suppose Mozilla you had written. So what actually happened? The things are recorded using the Selenium WebDriver, and inside the Selenium WebDriver, its own functionalities in means what it will do. It will create the driver for the Mozilla Firefox. Okay, and this Mozilla Firefox driver will execute the code which is written. Okay, and in the same fashion, it will down what I have to say, drill down like what is the language for the test script. So it will convert the test script, or it will convert the thing into the C++ if you are using the C++ as a testing script. Okay, then after that means it is some kind of functionality of the Selenium, means I'm not also sure. So if you will use the Internet Explorer for the second web browser, what it will do, it will create it will use the Internet Explorer driver, which is already been created by the Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so what it will do, this driver now will use the test script which is written in the C++. Okay, so in that way, the C++ test script is used by Selenium by using the driver. First, it will use the Mozilla driver for using the same test script, and then it will use the Internet Explorer driver to use the same test script. Okay, or we can say like the C++ testing script will invoke the Selenium driver by invoking the Selenium driver which is associated, or the corresponding Selenium driver for the web browser. If you are running the Selenium on Firefox, so it will invoke the Firefox driver. If you will use Chrome, it will use the Chrome driver. In that way, your test script could be written in any language. It will invoke the particular driver of the web browser and can be used to execute the test cases. Okay, so means what is the logic or how the coding is done, I'm not sure, but the function is like while using the driver, the particular test programming language which is written, sorry, the test script which is written in particular programming language will invoke the corresponding driver from where you for that particular browser, which is used for running the web application. Okay, so this thing is clear to you?
Yeah.
I guess still means you are not clear.
Not fully.
Okay, so basically, as we had seen, like Selenium WebDriver
Yeah.
creates its own means browser. Okay, go back to the previous slide.
No, it's like my question is here, which
Mhm.
application, like WebDriver is using what application here to translate them into the different web browser.
Means what application means?
It's like what base machine they are using. Like when you're writing, they must be storing the data somewhere, right? When you're writing,
Definitely, in the system itself, it is storing the data.
so yeah, in the system. Yeah, so how they are translating the data from one language to another? Like, can they do this? Like, if I'm writing a test script in C++, but I need the same test script, but not in C++, but in
Okay.
Java.
So
So
this
can
thing
it
is
be
done by
done?
the drivers. As I told you, this thing is means driver have its own code. What actually the driver is means what you understand by the driver. Driver is it is a program which is written for the hardware. Okay, so basically the driver has been written in such a way, means I'm not sure like what is the logic, as I told you previously, like what is the logic for the driver, I'm not sure. Developer definitely whosoever had developed this Selenium web driver knows. So basically the driver is the main thing which will do the conversion. If you are working with the Mozilla Firefox, the Mozilla Firefox driver will convert multi languages. So it is means it is not a headache of the user. It is the sole responsibility of the driver to convert the multi languages test cases to be executed by the Mozilla Firefox. So here basically your Mozilla Firefox driver will do the conversion. If you are using C++ test script, it will be converted by some logic by the Selenium WebDriver and given to the Mozilla application. And if you will use Chrome, So what if it will do? Chrome will also use the C++ test script by using its own Google driver, or sorry, Chrome driver. So basically, driver are separate. Each web browser having its own driver for the Selenium web application. Okay, so basically it means like in a single word, as a single sentence, I can give your answer. The conversion is taken care by the Selenium web driver, which correspond means for each web browser, Selenium have its own corresponding driver for that particular web browser. Okay. Are you there?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Sorry, I
So
muted it and I was like, okay.
okay, okay. Okay, okay, no problem. So this is means yeah, it is almost means 9:30. Okay, so we will continue forward and we will see the Selenium WebDriver. Now our whole focus is on the Selenium WebDriver because right now we are working with the Selenium WebDriver. So now we will see the Selenium WebDriver into more detail. We will see like means in the next class we will see what are the different web elements which are present on the web browser, sorry, on application, and we will see like what are the different commands, what are the different operation which is need to be followed by the test case tester. Okay, so we will take the session on tomorrow. The
Okay.
timing will be changed, means the timing will be 10:30 EST. Will you let me know like what is the current timing there?
It's 12 p.m. now.
It is 12 p.m. So I guess the time for the starting the course is 10:30 EST. Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
can you please
Mhm.
share this PPT
Yeah, sure, sure,
and
sure.
recording as well?
Also, what thing?
The recording of the
Recording,
class.
sure. Actually, the recording will be shared. Means because we are creating the recording and we need to place in the Google Drive or somewhere in a common place.